We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Sunday by the time you hear this. I'm recording this Saturday night, and we have Will with us. Will had some shit go down. He was getting a little fired up, and he says, "I need to vent, motherfucker. Give me a shot to vent." And I said, we'll do it Saturday night, and here we are. So,
Yeah,
what's going on with you, Will?
I mean to see what happened, what the impetus was that on Friday. Woke up. My daughter goes to work early before we get up, and my wife gets a text her and goes, "The refrigerator is dead." I'm going, "Ah, shit." Yeah, it died. So the first thing I did was check the outlet, and the outlet's working. So we had to go get a new refrigerator ordered on Labor Day weekend. Now we got lucky. Nice older woman at Home Depot. I mean, this lady was solely cool.
Yeah.
73, working at Home Depot with a walker, knew everything. It was really cool. Um, Her name is Miss Osiris. And it was just really cool. And for some reason, they had some great sales. So we got a fridge, and we kept talking about, we ended up getting a washer dryer. Fridge is coming on Tuesday. So we spent the day basically trying to figure out what I did. In the end, I ended up getting 3 bags of ice. We shoved it in the fridge, and right now it's a giant cooler at this point.
Right.
And it's
Right.
still working. And Tuesday we'll get it replaced. But yeah, that frustrates the shit out of you because you start thinking, "Oh crap! Now what? What do we have to do?" It was an expensive weekend. Yeah, that took all the cash we kind of had on sale saved up. But you got to do what you got to do.
Well, you
So
got to have a refrigerator. And the most fucked up thing of that story, as I understand it, is that this 73-year-old woman with a walker that sold you this refrigerator, she's also the one moving it into the house. She's going to haul it
no, no,
over by truck, put it on her back, and drag
yeah.
it into Will's house.
No, she was really cool. It was nice because it was nice to see that with home. She had worked at Home Depot for 20 years. It was a great story to hear her, and I noticed that they have a lot of older people working at Home Depot, and they're like, she wasn't the only one with a walker. So it's kind of interesting. But the thing about it was like I'm going, wow. And I don't know if it's because the labor force or they've been there a while. I mean, it was kind of nice, and it was sometimes a Home Depot or Lowe's visit can be stressful, especially if we're not a contractor. But it,
Yeah.
it went better than I thought. We end up saving a lot of money. They had sales, and I ended up, I guess, I was part of their system from way back, and it worked out well. So Tuesday we get the
That's good.
refrigerator, and we'll be okay. So
Well, that's
that's
good.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've noticed that about Home Depot too. When I've been in there and bought different things, there is a lot of older people there that I'm thankful for because they know what the fuck they're doing. I mean, I
yeah.
go into Home Depot and I talk to somebody older, um, and they know exactly what's going on and they can really help you out. My wife and I walked into this kind of gift shop type place.
Hmm.
And I walked up to the girl, the little Gen Z girl standing behind the um, counter, and I asked her a question. I said, "Do you know anything about this certain thing? Do you know anything about that?" And she just looks at me and goes, "No."
Whatever,
And my
boomer.
wife says, "My wife says she just stared at her for a minute." I go, "Well, I was waiting for something else. I mean, your customer service,
Yeah, I
give
mean,
me
you just
something
gotta
for fuck's sake."
customer service, which I've worked and I do work to an occasion. It's a two-way street. You get what you get back.
Yeah,
And I will tell you, doing this long enough, if you give me the vibe, you get the vibe back. Because I'm just too old for your shit. Had a
right,
guy like that,
right.
I'm asking questions. He goes, "Why you keep asking that?" I'm going, "Fine, we're gonna play this. You're gonna get monotone. I just want to get you the f off my phone because I know how this is going. I'm too old
Yeah,
for your shit. You know what I mean,
yeah, no.
and but people are that way, and it just and then that day, I think, what did we have that day? I mean, just shit everywhere. Trump announcing this, Trump announcing that. That's the insanity that is the Trump administration or Trump's regime right now.
You know
Every day.
what I find interesting is you were talking about this 73-year-old woman in a walker working at Home Depot. and she sounds more vibrant than Donald Trump seems to be right
Oh,
now.
exactly. And that's, I think, the story we have to look at right now. Normally, when we start talking about Trump shuffling, okay, never mind, we're on YouTube. Trump fucking dying. There we go. Dying, dead, no more breath. MAGA flips the fuck out, especially
Yeah.
Republicans. Have you noticed they're kind of silent the last
Yeah,
few
it's kind
days
of
about this?
they're kind of low key. I will say this on TikTok. There's all kinds of people going, "Well, we haven't seen him for 2 weeks. He hasn't been golfing in 2 weeks. He hasn't talked to anybody. He could be dead. He could be dead." And I always tell people when you watch TikTok, you got psychics, you got people that claim to have inside tracks. The fact of the matter is, most of these people don't know fuck all about fuck all. If you believe them, you're going to be embarrassed. And having been a creator, and I'm sure you've done this too, you see something, you go, God, that's a good story. And if you're not careful, you jump on it and you report it and you end up looking wrong. So that's why I don't do that. But there's some interesting things about this. Um, the Trump administration came out today and to prove life, I guess, and they put out this grainy photo, and there apparently was a video from a far distance supposedly showing something with Donald Trump near a car. Now, they did that to, waylay people saying he's dead or he's sick or whatever. But now people are coming out and saying, well, that photo was really from 2019 or the video was from beyond. And, it sounds crazy. It sounds like a conspiracy theory. However, if there was something wrong with Donald Trump, that's exactly what the Trump administration would do. They try to do
Yes.
something to cover it up. The other thing that I find weird about this is think back to any day in the last 7 to 8 months when Donald Trump hasn't been on camera spewing his shit. So if they were going to prove that Donald Trump's not sick, everything's cool, they would have put him in front of the camera like they do
Oh
pretty
yeah.
much every day and have him spew shit. But they didn't do that. Now, I'm not saying I know anything because I don't, but I'm taking a look at the situation. We know he hasn't looked well. We know he's 79. Um, who the fuck knows?
It's in last week. Speaking of last week, I mean they'll weekend Bernie this if they can, or go Howard Hughes on this as they get everything prepped. But let's just kind of look at some of this weird stuff going around it. Um, as we said, Republicans are really silent. Normally, you
Yeah,
get some officials going, "Hey, hey, 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 no, no, he's fine. How dare you? You're wishing him to die." Okay, we are, but that's different. But the point is, usually there's an outrage. I haven't heard any outrage. They're still talking about the shooting, the trans. They're talking about the economy. They're talking about all the other shit, but not his health.
yeah,
Because let's be honest, if Trump saw that report, and he would have, he'd have popped up. You know it. I know it. He's a narcissist. He would
yeah.
prove life for himself. Um, and two, there was a fundraising letter sent out to the Trump nation or Trump fucks saying, help me get to heaven with a donation." First of all, it ain't gonna work, brother. You're destined
Yeah.
for elevator straight to hell, going down. Period.
That's one place where your money doesn't matter.
Now, the best line in any Don Henley song, and I never forgot this line. It was in on his album Inside Job, and it was, "You don't see any hearses with luggage racks."
Right, right.
And I remember this line because when we were going to church, we had our pastor was a really cool guy. He was in a wheelchair. He said that, and I'm like sitting in the pew, and I started to laugh. I'm the only one laughing because I got it. And later he goes, "You know what I was talking about?" I go, "Oh yeah, I know what you were talking about." But that's the thing. He's sick. Let's be
No
blunt.
question.
Donald Trump's sick, and the thing about it is that when people are long have good genetics and they last a long time, the end comes quick. It's
Yeah.
like you burn that wick, you burn that
Right.
oil, and phew, and he's starting to. You can see it, and also there's pressure being pushed on him right now. The Trump,
Oh
the
yeah.
tariff thing died the way of the dodo, although they pushed it off to October because um, they're probably going to, they know he's going to appeal to the Supreme Court.
Right.
Hopefully they won't fuck us over it, but Supreme Court. He's going after the Fed Reserve governor, expecting her to roll over. And he said, no, I ain't
Correct.
leaving, suing her. He's going after Chicago. He's going after Baltimore. But those governors are taking Gavin Newsom's um, tack and say, no, fuck you. And by the way, you're ugly. Westmore, Westmore went off. And there's
Yeah.
a video of him running with Maryland state trooper recruits, calling out cadence as a drill instructor. And everyone's
Wow.
watching him going, yeah, that's a point being made. That was a point being made. Um, and so his idea that he's going to push over these people won't work. He caught, I think he caught Gavin Newsom by surprise with the National Guard in Los Angeles. He ain't surprised anymore. So what he's doing, he's ratcheting up that, and that's a constant burr. That is a constant burr on not only him but the far right, who are freaking the fuck out because we know it's satire.
Yeah.
We know he's making fun of the Newsom shoes and the Newsom phone and putting up merch and saying Bible sold out. We know what that is. We know what it is. But
Apparently
these dumb
don't.
motherfuckers, yeah, these dumb motherfuckers think, oh, he's imitating him. No, we are mocking him, which we should have done a long time ago. And it's working.
Well, you
And
know
that
what's
does push
interesting?
them out.
What's interesting about this is that for a long time, you know about bullies, I know about bullies. For years that we've been talking about this stuff, we've always known that the only way to deal with a bully is push them back. Now, for the last 4 or 5 years, or even longer than that, nobody's done that. They all
Nope.
bent a knee. And when you bend a knee to a bully, that's just the beginning of getting fucked. You're going to get fucked over and over again. You knew that you push back against a bully. I knew that you push back against a bully. How come it's just now they're fucking figuring it out?
Because they wanted to take the high road. Well,
Fuck
guess
that.
what, dude? The high road is done. And I keep hearing that still from some people, especially the far left. Quick side note: that Wired magazine was a fucking hit piece.
Yeah, it
Period.
was.
It was designed as soon as Gavin Newsom stuff is taking hold, and Democrats are pushing up, and independent media, which is usually left leaning, I say left leaning, independent media is telling the truth. All of a sudden, this person who turns out to be, if you want to see a good evaluation of this, look for Maid Ray's TikTok video. She broke it down really well, and she described what the organization was doing. It was trying to build a left wing network like the right wing network was doing, giving people seed money and giving them help. This person put it up as they're all AIPAC trying to do Israel's bidding, which Hawk jumped on because he, for all his bullshit, is a latte liberal because he
Yeah.
thinks both parties are evil. Dude, you're fine because you're a rich white lawyer in San Francisco. I'm just a dumb working stiff Latino here in Georgia, and reality is different for me than you. And
Right.
that's the problem with the far lefters. And the worst thing about them, too, they come out of hiding when they can eat their own or make themselves
Yeah.
feel superior. And the good thing about it, the majority of us are going, fuck you, because we know what the reality is. That hit piece was designed to try to break everyone. No, we know what it is. We know who you are. And by the way, unless they're tied to the Russian intelligence agency, like those guys were getting money before, a lot more money, go away. shove that up your ass.
No,
Period.
that's the thing. That's the thing about this. People get these little stories and they get latched onto it. And then I'm on my For You page looking for baby and dog videos, and all I get is these stories about the Wired article. And I think it's the whole thing is absolutely pointless. And I think there's a bigger story that everybody's fucking missing. Um, whether left leaning influencers getting paid by somebody, don't give a fuck, because
Yep.
the Russians were giving millions to right leaning podcasters and influencers too. That's the fucking game. That's the problem we have in this country. There's too much money being floated around. Now I got nobody coming to me saying, "Hey, Mike, I'll give you some money and you do what I say." I wouldn't do it anyway because I don't need the money in that sense. But I'll tell you what's interesting. What we should be complaining about. I'm not complaining about it because I don't do the TikTok stuff for money per se. I'll take my money. If they're making money off me, I'll take my cut, but I don't do it for anything other than what's fair is fair. But they're talking about people putting money into people delivering liberal information, right? Oh, they're paying them dark money and all that stuff. Let me tell you a little story. I'm in the creator fund with TikTok, right?
Mm-hmm.
For 5 years, I've done the same thing with videos, the
Mm-hmm.
number of videos, what I talked about in the videos. 3 or 4 months ago, I got paid a certain amount from the creator fund, and it was pretty steady. It was always the same thing.
Right.
Since that time, in the last 3 months, the amount I'm getting paid from the creator fund is about one fourth of what I was getting paid 3 or 4 months ago. And I'm doing all the same things. My point is, don't cry for me because I'm making less money. I'm fine. Don't worry about that. My
Mm-hmm.
point is, why are they paying me less money if I'm doing all the same things? They're paying me less money because I do have a liberal message, a left
Yes.
leaning message. So you can cry about these people getting paid. How about those people that are being marginalized, like you and me and everybody else,
Yeah.
aren't getting the views and aren't getting the money because we had the audacity to talk about liberal issues?
I mean, we were on a live with someone who said he lost like 6 accounts.
Yeah,
And I'm like going, dude, I'm on three, and I
right.
didn't really do anything different than that. And the first account had reached 5,000 viewers, and then bang. So
Right.
I understand there is a bias, and there's always been a bias in media. If you had noticed way back when they took away the Fairness Act, when that ended,
Yeah,
and
that
Rush
screwed
Limbaugh
everything.
set the standard for political media, that's the only media that's made money.
Right.
Far left couldn't make money because people won't listen to the far left. They'll listen to the crazy, the Limbaugh, the Rogan, the
Well, NPR
Carson.
tried
Yeah,
it. NPR
yeah.
tried it with Air America. Mark Maron and a bunch of people were
No,
on Air America and they couldn't sustain it.
they couldn't sustain it because that makes common sense, and you try to talk to them intelligently, but a lot of people don't like that. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear the crazy. That's why, what's his name? The Sandy Hook guy, and I just drew a blank on him, and I said, fat fuck, I just drew a blank on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I'll get it.
Infowars.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
InfoWars.
Infowars.
Alex.
I mean, he was
Alex Jones.
he was huge, huge, huge. I mean, money over fist. And everything he talked was insane. Absolutely fucking crazy. And he made money. And if you think about it, that's why that bullshit they fed from the Wired article won't wash because like me, I know history of media. It's just recently, and as someone's made a good comment, is that now that the far right got their wish and they're running everything, you're not. You're the same sound, left wing and media Midas touch and all that, and Aaron Parnas. They're the different sound, and people are gravitating to different sounds, and that's what's going on. And also, they also see that once you get to that different sound, they start to see the bullshit they were fed. This is why you're getting the pushback in the background. They know it's
Okay,
coming.
let me make an analogy here. See if you agree with
Uh-huh.
me. The radical right media, whether it be social media or mainstream media, the radical right media and its followers is akin to the WWE and its
Mm-hmm.
followers. The WWE, we know it's not totally real. I'm not diminishing wrestling. People like wrestling, and that's fine.
It's entertainment.
But
That's what
it's
it
the
is.
same kind of thing. You have your heels and you have your baby faces. And it's so similar to what we have in the Republican Party as well.
Mm-hmm.
The meaner, the bigger, it's like Donald Trump is the Undertaker. He's a mean guy, but
Right.
we love him.
Right. But it's worn out in the
Yeah, it's
because the
worn out.
problem is it's great to campaign and get elected. It fucking doesn't work when you govern. You can't govern like that because governing requires practical knowledge and practical events, and which will tell you what's going on in the CDC right now. Okay,
Right.
you have an absolute. By the way, you made a video on it. I wanted to touch on it. I missed it. The senator from Louisiana, Bill Lee, is it the doctor?
No. But
Bill,
Cassidy,
yeah,
Dr. Bill Cassidy.
motherfucker could have held up that.
You could
He
have.
knew what he was. He's a goddamn medical doctor,
Well,
and
he
he
was
still.
voting against RFK up until the
Mhm.
last minute. No doubt, got a call from Donald Trump and switched it. So he is the worst of the worst because he knew what he was getting into,
Right,
and now he's acting all upset because things are going bad. What did you expect?
and you, that man, that man is worse. He literally. I'm going to describe him. He literally is Dr. Mengele. Okay, and if you don't know what
A
I'm
little
talking about, look
strong,
it up.
but yeah.
No, but think of what he says. Okay, talking about children and mitochondria and the way they look and stuff. That's genetic shit.
No, wait a minute. You're not talking about the doctor saying the doctor didn't say this.
No, I'm talking
You're talking
about
about RFK
RFK.
Jr.
RFK,
Right.
not Bill Cassidy. Bill Cassidy is a fucking weasel and a coward.
Yeah.
He fucked up. Now he's trying to walk it back. Too fucking late, dude. You could have cut it at the knees. You could have followed your Hippocratic oath, but you went with politics and power. Good luck with that. No,
It's like
RFK.
it's
Go ahead,
like
sir.
all these people that voted for the big beautiful bill that voted for it and clapped and cheered after it, and now they're going, "Oh, that's not good. We don't agree with
Really?
that."
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. And so RFK's views are no different than what the Nazis did. No, the idea of genetic purity, how you can fix genetics, is actually started in the United States. We were the first to start doing this sterilization because they took Mendelssohn's idea of genetics. If
right,
you cross the P's and all that, and the idea is that okay, if we can keep the higher genetics by eliminating the lower mutants, it'd be fine. They did a movie on this once because of the sterilization they did in Alabama of people handicapped and the deaf, massive sterilizations because they had someone who believed that. But as someone was being explained to one of the characters in the movie, in order to do that, you have to get rid of like close to 3/4 of the population
right.
before you can achieve that. Because everyone carries recessives. We
Oh,
all
sure.
do. And that's where the Nazis took that because the gentleman who came up with it, and someone in the comments will come up with it because I know they're smarter than we are, took it to Germany, and that's how the Germans jumped on it. And if you notice, what is RFK concentrating on? Autistics, disabled, the mentally ill, supposedly. He doesn't even want us to have antidepressants, you motherfucker. Um, and this thing he did with mitochondria, looking at children because they're not right, that is genetic cleansing. And this is where he's at. He's a fucking absolute racist
Monster.
monster. He's a monster. He thinks he's doing the right thing, make America healthy. No, dude, you don't know what it is, and you reject. He sat at a fucking cabinet meeting saying, "Doctors, we don't listen to experts anymore."
Right.
Why? Because they debunk everything you say. Then the reason he got rid of the CDC director, who got barely through, who was a Trumplafuck, but a scientist. When you walk in her office and say, "We're getting rid of all vaccines because I don't like them, because I don't think they're safe," and she goes, "No, we can't because COVID's coming back." And as soon as she disagrees with you, you fire her, tells us all we need to know.
Yeah.
This man is determined to make it work the way he wants. This man is insane. He literally is the worst kind of hippie ever. He doesn't believe in medicine. He doesn't believe in science. He has lost his goddamn mind. And now in Atlanta, there is no one in the CDC. They're
Right.
protesting. The main scientists have walked out. They said, "Fuck this. I'm out. I'm not going to be responsible for this." He replaced the acting CDC director is some guy that had probably was bagging groceries yesterday. This is where we're at. And it goes
Well,
back to what we said a moment ago. Their performative shit looks good to campaign for, but you can't govern with it when the rubber hits the road.
well, yeah, you can't just say we're going to do this and assume they know what they're doing because they don't. I think what you were talking about, and I think what RFK Jr. is talking about, a term called eugenics, and that probably
Eugenics.
was
Thank you.
was
Thank you.
probably
Sorry.
figured out here. I will say this: if you did try to get rid of all the lower genes, the
Recessives.
recessive genes and all the recessive genes, it would definitely wipe out all of the Republican Party. So
Pretty much.
maybe we just do it with Republicans and the rest we take care of. The other thing is, if you're telling me somebody's walking down the street, a kid's walking down the street, and I can see something fucked up with them, I'm going to tell you what. I've watched RFK Jr. on TV many times, watched his behavior, watched how he talks, watched what he looks like. That motherfucker's got some genetic problems too.
He has admitted to being a serious drug user in the
Yeah.
'60s before, admitted to it, LSD, the whole 9 yards, and he has the fucking gall to say that people who take antidepressants don't need them. We should get rid of them. They should just go to farms. He's fucking crazy. And the worst thing about it, he sat in a meeting again talking about diabetics. Okay. And he said, quote, "Diabetes is not a disease. It's something that can be treated by diet. Shouldn't give them drugs." And I watched the video where it was a doctor was doing it. And I thought the doctor's eyes were about to fall out of his head because we all know, no, diabetes, if you're overweight like I am, you're going to get, you've got a higher possibility of diabetes. That's a fact. Okay, we're not
That's
going to
right.
lie about that. Okay. But there are very thin people who has type 2 diabetes because the cause of diabetes is your pancreas is not putting out insulin to break down the sugar in your body. And you need to take insulin to replace that and all the symptoms that come with it. And this motherfucker is saying doctors are lying to you about taking that medication. So not
Yeah.
only does he want to come out to antidepressants, he wants to get rid of autism by basically studying the kids and maybe eliminate him because he sees that as a disease, and get rid of them. Go after people's. He is come to this conclusion that his new world is what we're going to be part of. And he's going to kill us all because already I saw a chart that COVID, especially in the southern states, what a fucking surprise, is on the rise again.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker wants to pull the vaccine. It's bad enough that they pull federal government funding. So if you don't have insurance, you're fucked. You got to pay for it. But now he wants to make it that you can't get it.
Well,
and it's coming back.
and what they did was they didn't take it away, but they restricted it. You got to be over 65. You got to have some kind of disease that would make you need it. If you're under 65 or a kid, you've got to have some kind of malady that would cause you to get it. Now, I'm 65. I'm getting my vaccine probably next month, I would presume, and I'm definitely getting it. But if my kids want to get it and they're in their 30s and they're healthy, theoretically, they can't get it. Now, this whole CDC thing really troubles me. I was telling people that, probably 10 years ago, if you asked somebody what the CDC did, they probably wouldn't know. It's a Center for Disease Control. People became aware of what the CDC was with COVID. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, during COVID, Donald Trump did nothing, called it a hoax, said it would go away, didn't do his job as president of the United States, and we had 1 million people die in this country.
And he
I'm just
fucked with the
guessing here.
CDC because they pushed back on what he said about, like you just said, they pushed back. Part of what's going on in the CDC is revenge.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. But my point is, and I'm guessing here, based on what I've seen, if in 2020, when we had COVID, Donald Trump
Mhm.
does nothing, 1 million people die. I'm theorizing that if there was no CDC, kind of like we're in a situation now, if there was no CDC, that might be doubled, tripled, even quadrupled the number of deaths in this country because
Or
the CDC did a lot to control it in spite of Donald Trump.
and remember, this is a virus that what vaccines do is try to prevent you from getting
Of
it. That's why
dying.
you get vaccinated. And then when you can't get it, the virus doesn't mutate because it keeps hitting that wall. The problem that we still have with COVID is because Trump fucked them all up with this free willy bullshit by the way of states' rights and all that, personal rights. Yeah, fucking hypocrites. It allowed it to mutate a couple of times. The newest vaccine that the MRA or NA has come out,
mRNA? Yeah.
MRA is the newest one that we're supposed to get that he's stopping is designed to be they broke down the genetic base where that even if it mutates, it'll stop it. But this guy doesn't have no fucking idea what it is. He's into this autism bullshit, which was debunked over a decade ago.
Right.
That study was not correct. It was false data study. We all know this, but it kept perpetuating because this is how these people make their money. All
Right.
these fake pseudoscientists and their potions and their ideas and all their podcasts, people buy their shit. They're no different than those old guys in the fucking wagons bringing that bottle of stuff that usually was
Snake
piss.
oil. Yeah,
Yeah,
snake oil.
and
Yeah,
they're no different, but they make money because people aren't bright. And I'm lucky
to
because
say the least.
I come from a medical back. My mom was a nurse. She was a public health nurse with LA County. Trust me, I know about all this shit. She dealt with outbreaks. Okay, they tried to step on outbreaks quick, but now you have a measles outbreaks that apparently, according to someone who left the CDC, no one told RFK about.
Right.
Measles is back, folk. And if measles is back, it's going to mutate. And again, COVID's going to be a long winter.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're going to hear about it because for some reason, the mass media doesn't want to talk about this shit. This is ridiculous. And
Now,
this is a bigger security threat than anything else right now.
yeah, it really is. Now, as I understand it, RFK Jr. is going to sit in front of Congress this week and be questioned. Now, the Republicans will throw softballs at him, but hopefully the Democrats really put the pressure on because, as you say, this is maybe one of the most um, dangerous situations. We had a pandemic. If we get another pandemic, it was fucked up by Donald Trump in the first place. Fortunately, the CDC was there to keep it under control to a certain extent. But now we've got Donald Trump again as president and virtually no CDC. it literally doesn't exist right now
and
because of the damage he's done.
and they're stripping money from it. They're
Right.
taking money from it. I mean, today announced that they're not supporting an organization that's a conglomerate of 16 um, medical facilities that study novel ways to treat pediatric brain cancer. Fuck
Right.
them kids.
Yeah,
Okay,
pretty
because
much.
he needs more gold in the fucking White House. That is
Right.
such a gaudy piece of shit now. That makes me sick. We're gonna have to burn the White House down and rebuild it once we get that fucker out of there.
Looks like a
Literally,
mid-century brothel, and Donald Trump
it's
looks like a
ridiculous.
elderly pimp.
I mean, it's like there's no decorum. There's no respect. It's, I mean, face it, Newsom was right. They talk to him and they go, man, they laugh at his ass. And
Yeah.
that's just not getting to him. That's the truth. I mean, when the French president showed up with Zelensky, he refused to shake Trump's hand. Refused to shake Trump's hand. What does that tell you? Did you see what the South Korean president did? He rolled a joke on him to his face.
Yeah.
There is no respect or fear. And he's turned the United States military into garbage collectors. And you saw that in DC. They got nothing to do. And you fired the Park Service people. So you got those guys picking up garbage. Oh, by the way, a lot of them aren't getting paid and they're away from their jobs. A lot of them are going to come back and not have a job. Good job.
Well,
That's really good. Isn't that
that's
great?
that's the thing people have to understand. Yeah, he's utilizing the National Guard. These people don't do this full time. They go out once or twice a month. They maybe go to a few meetings. They have a little time off from work and they go do their duty. And then if something major happens, they send them off to war or whatever they do. Now, Donald Trump is taking these people and going to DC or LA where there's nothing really going on that would warrant having them there. And we're upset because we've got the military in our towns. But these people have normal lives like you and me. They have
Mm-hmm.
jobs, they have a family. Now you've uprooted them, taken them away from their jobs, put them someplace. And when they get there, they realize, why are we even here? That's got to cause a certain amount of morale problems with the National Guard. And like you say, if you're away from the job long enough, theoretically, they could replace you. And then all of a sudden you go back to your family and now you have no job because Donald Trump wanted to fuck around.
Yeah, and also, quick side note, because we're talked about when we started this about what's going on with Trump threatening Chicago. He has a
Yeah,
hard on for Chicago. I think because they didn't let him build a Trump Tower or something in Chicago. I think they
that
told him to
could
go
be.
fuck himself. Yeah, I think they did. They told him to go fuck himself. And he keeps talking about, first of all, the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois is going, fuck you, we don't want you here. Trump's backed off. He did say that they should do it because Chicago's a killing field. They keep showing pictures of Chicago downtown, festivals, people walking around enjoying the summer in Illinois. And that's not what Chicago is. Hell, they talked about J.D. Vance and his eyeliner were here in Georgia a couple of weeks ago in Peachtree City, which is one of the very, very rich suburbs of Atlanta,
Right.
talking about, it's about he knows that all these people are afraid to come out of the house because of the horrible crime in Atlanta. Oh my, we're going to take care of this. And they asked me going to bring troops to Atlanta. And he said, we're thinking about it. Do you know what's going on in Atlanta right now? There's a
What?
bunch of things going on in Atlanta. First of all, it's Dragon Con weekend, Labor Day. That means every fucking nerd and geek are in Atlanta. Everyone. And the place is packed. And they have a Georgia football game and an Atlanta football game in the same area. The place is packed. My kids just came back from going there today. They're walking around in costumes, just hanging out, just having a good time. All right. I don't see major crime going on in Atlanta. And again, this is all fake bullshit based on racism because
Oh, it
they keep
is.
saying we're going to send the troops to save the black community from crime. And most of you white folk are saying that. One, they don't need your help that way. They need your help economically Because economics is what drive crime. Look up something called the J curve, which is what you want and what you can't get is a J, and that space is what caused criminal activity trying to get there. Yeah, I've done some schooling. The point is, this is all based on 40 fucking years of Fox News feeding people that people of color are the source of all your goddamn problems. And the
Now, the,
crime in the city is all them, and we're going to save them. No, you're not. I'm
now,
sorry,
the,
go ahead.
now the thing about it is the one thing that's not going to work in Donald Trump's favor, it has worked in D.C., is that J.B. Pritzker and the mayor of Chicago has said, look, you come here, we don't want you here. Don't come here. But if you come here, the police aren't working with you. They're not going to work with you. And I even heard some mayors say if he comes to my community, or a prosecutor, I think I saw,
It
maybe in
was the
Maryland,
Philly, I was about to say the Philly DA.
Philly
The
DA,
Philly
that's right.
DA.
And he said basically, if they come here and start taking people off the streets and start breaking laws, we're going to arrest those motherfuckers. And that's exactly what they need to do because ICE and everything else, they are committing crimes in these communities. They
Yes,
should be arrested. They should be prosecuted.
because there's no due process. If
Right.
you get picked up by an ICE agent, and unfortunately we know someone who was,
Right.
old soul, she had no fucking due process.
No,
She didn't.
she didn't
They
break a
got
law.
really, yeah, the federal, and every time they tried to stop these people, where's your warrant? We don't need one. Really? When did the Fourth Amendment get suspended?
Yeah.
I mean, this is where we're at because they gave these people so much power, and you don't have a Congress who's exercising their constitutional part of being a checks and balance on the executive branch. Because Mike Johnson is a pussy and goes along anything that Trump wants. And by the way, Gavin Newsom made you look stupid because
Yeah, he did.
that was fucking brilliant. Look, 300%, 200%, Shreveport, 280% to California. Those are all fucking facts. And they asked him about it. And you know what he did? He blamed the Democratic prosecutor in Shreveport. You weak motherfucker. Those states, every red state, because people are poor and don't have anything, they do what they have to do to survive. Simple as that, white or black. And that's why crime's so high. Period.
I did a TikTok and I was talking about Mike Johnson and I gave him a nickname and I put it in my TikTok expecting to get hit on it, have it taken down. But I now refer to Mike Johnson as Mike Power Bottom Johnson,
Yeah,
and
he's all right.
and or Grinder Johnson. Uh, what Gavin Newsom is doing to Mike Johnson and doing to Donald Trump is exactly what we need to do. It's the
Right.
one thing that's made some headway against these people. So we need to ramp it up. JB Pritzker is getting tough with him. Wes Moore is starting to do it. We need everybody to be going at these people, embarrassing them, mocking them, because that's the one thing that seems to get us some traction.
Yeah, and he's not even mocking him. He's just putting out facts. Those
Yeah.
are facts. They're stone cold facts. Also, Pam Bondi saying the federal government can do whatever we want in our states, and they all said no. The Washington governor, who was respectful, basically said in his nice way, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah.
Boston literally said, "Go fuck yourself." Okay, Philadelphia is saying that. The point is, you have cities that are predominantly of color. Portland, they're going after Portland again because Portland is weird and they're going to do what they want.
Yeah.
It's because they believe now that from the White House, they run everything. And unfortunately, Congress and the courts have not given them the impression that they can't.
Well,
That's part of the problem.
well, although the courts recently, the other day we had a bad day for Donald Trump in the courts, where an appellate court said, yeah, these tariffs for the vast majority of these tariffs aren't constitutional. You can't do it. Now he will probably appeal it to the Supreme Court, and they aren't stopping the tariffs even
No,
after they
that's
gave that
October.
judgment. So we'll wait there. But there's another federal court that came out and said these very quick mass deportations, those are unconstitutional too. And any idiot could figure that out because of what we talked about before. Fucking due process. You're sending people out of the country with no due process, and everybody is entitled to due process. So Donald Trump lost two big court cases. No doubt he's going to appeal them, probably to the Supreme Court, I guess, at this point. And we'll have to see if how bad the Supreme Court is now, because these are pretty clear constitutional issues, and if they can't get this fucking right, all is lost with,
Yeah,
well,
so
I
the
think all
Supreme
is
Court,
lost with the Supreme Court anyway.
yeah, the Supreme Court's going to have to make a choice: the
Yeah.
Constitution or Trump.
Yeah.
It's simple. Because all this stuff is non-constitutional. You're giving the executive power way too much flexibility and power, and they are doing it because, again, they have a Christian fascist agenda. But it's getting out of hand because things are not working out the way they want. I know they want chaos, they want economic failure, because that way they figure they could slip in, i.e., Germany, and raise their fascist state. But again, what we're seeing right now, where it looks really bad, and it looks bad, but they're starting to get panicky. And you
Oh
know
yeah.
it's bad. It's panicky because, like you talked about a moment ago, that bill where they all cheered and passed. Well, the roosters have come home. They're coming back home and finding out their constituents are getting fucked and they don't like it. And they're getting pushed back again in town halls. Now, if you're in a red district and you voted for a Trump the fuck, and you're complaining about it, you get this much sympathy from me,
Right.
less than zero, because she told you, I'm going to Washington to support Donald Trump. He did it. Now they come back and you say, why did you do it? Dumbasses, they did what you wanted. That's why
Yeah.
they're arrogant up there. Stop it. But it's nice to see because the consequences are losing that seat in Iowa. Eric Price knew about it, a lot about it. That's huge. That broke a super majority. That's going to be problems for Republicans in Iowa.
Right.
They're gonna have serious issues now.
Well, then Joni
Um,
Ernst decides not to run, which doesn't
that
surprise me because she fucked herself up. But I think more than her own situation, she's seeing the writing on the wall when it comes to
yes,
the Republican Party.
it's not good. That's why they're trying to cheat.
Yeah.
The redistricting, the get rid of the ballots, because they know on a fair fight or a level ground or even a semi unlevel ground, they're getting fucked because people are said no. And just from aside from Trump and everything, that happens in every midterm for a president.
Yeah.
Every midterm, the opposing party usually, except for Reagan, which was bizarre, loses a lot of seats in the House,
Right.
and they lose the House. That always happens, but it's going to be worse now. And you know it's bad because, and I saw this report and I looked it up. We talked about John Ossoff, here in Georgia.
Hmm.
John Ossoff is a good senator because he's loved by both we who are of the left lean and a lot of conservative business people because Ossoff puts his money where his mouth is and he brings stuff to Georgia, battery
Right.
plants, business. He talks well of Georgia. He makes Georgia look good. You know, him and Raphael Warnock are the counterpoint to MTG and all the other assholes here in
Right.
this state
Right.
because they do business. Those guys don't. So money talks. So let's be blunt. John Ossoff's fundraising machine is huge. He doesn't have to worry about the DNC. He's getting money here. We know this. Okay. So some of the Republican people are starting to come out. We talked about Buddy Carter. Buddy Carter is a MAGA pig.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you haven't seen the video, I caught the political ad last week one time. I'm watching the Dodger game on MLB and it's every other fucking commercial. Someone
Yeah.
gave him $10 million, and all his commercial is this guy in his 40s living in his rundown apartment, cross dressing, talking that he's going to the Ossoff campaign rally, putting on his heels, grabbing his participation trophy, grabbing his sign and driving off. And that's it. And
But
the video ends with Buddy Carter, MAGA warrior. This is what you're going to sell to me, motherfucker. Really?
and here's the thing. There should have been a lesson learned on November 5th how the Democrats fucked up. The
Mm-hmm.
Democrats fucked up by strictly attacking Donald Trump. They
Mm-hmm.
went after Donald Trump because there was so much stuff to prove that that he was a fuck up. But Kamala loses, and why? The message that they wanted to hear is our lives are in trouble. We need help. What are you doing for us? So this clown goes after John Ossoff, who everybody knows anyway and knows it's ridiculous. And he's not given any kind of information about what he's going to do when he's senator. That's not going to work. People, by
No.
the time we get to that election, people are going to be struggling financially.
Yes.
Farmers are going out of business. Friends and family are going to be deported. And all he can say is John Ossoff is a libtard. That's not going to
And
work for him.
his thing is literally at the end of the ad is a MAGA warrior, Buddy Carter. Okay, dude.
Wow, that's
So,
a
but
that's
here,
a horrible commercial. It's not
yeah,
going to
it is.
work.
But he keeps rolling it. But here's where it gets interesting. Someone got a hold, and probably the Atlanta Journal Constitution did. I know where it came from. Of a phone call from Brian Kemp to the Republican Party here in Georgia.
Mhm.
Understand, the party in Georgia expected Brian Kemp to take Ossoff's seat.
Right.
If he ran against John Ossoff, that would have been a fight. That would have
Yeah.
been a tough fucking fight. Because for all his MAGA thing, he's also fought MAGA, and Kemp has brought business, and he hasn't gone total crazy. He's tossed them their abortion shit, but he's not total MAGA crazy. Okay, he's an opportunist. So
Right.
that's what he doesn't want the Senate seat because one, it limits him, and two, he's got bigger pictures because you know who's about to drop dead. He
Right.
wants to be there because he could be a vacuum. He can reset the Republican Party to be somewhat MAGA, but not total
Crazy.
crazy. But the other reason is he sees the writing on the wall because he told the local the state Democrat the Republican Party do not support Buddy Carter, do not support the other Republican who's another MAGA shit because they are unelectable.
Right.
End quote. And he wants him to support, I think, is the son of Vince Dooley, a football player, a football coach, used to be at Tennessee, thinking that this man who has no political experience, they can't go after him. Yeah, that didn't work for Herschel Walker. Two, he has no political experience, so that's a clean slate. It's going to help him because
Is he?
he's going to do more than John Ossoff.
But is he going to be like Tommy Tuberville? That's
Don't
the
know.
problem.
Yeah, and that didn't work. And I heard that at first, and I did a video going, "We're not stupid, okay? We're not dumb here in Georgia. It'll work in Valdosta, in the southern part of the state, but even those areas are getting hit. Like you said, the farmers, some of them are getting totally fucked because you're taking the labor out. They'll
Right.
remember that. Here around Georgia, here around Atlanta, that shit ain't gonna fly.
No.
And again, I don't know how this guy talks. I don't know what he is. He got fired from Tennessee as a coach, which means you're a loser. Because in the SEC, if you don't win, you are out. That means you're a loser.
Right.
If you want to get into debates with John Ossoff, you're dead. But the point being, with Ernst going, Kemp saying that, Republicans trying to cheat the system, they know they're fucked because their message to get elected is great. They can't fucking govern, and they're
Right.
losing it. And people are paying the price. They're starting to realize even your base. That's why they throw, I'm going to save the world from crime. Um, they're throwing all of this shit against the wall why Trump gets richer and richer every day. Because every time he cuts a budget thing, where's the money going?
Exactly. Yeah.
And oh, and then to top
Why are we getting it back?
it all off, another prior thing, and I saw this. They are suspending law enforcement training for all federal agencies starting on September 1 or after the holiday, except for ICE and some DHS agents who are participating in immigration, because they're trying to push their ICE agents up to 10,000. They're trying to recruit 10,000 ICE agents to, basically a fucking battalion. And they
Right.
want to concentrate all the training on them. So FBI agents, ATF agents, agents that protect us from the border, they're not going to get their training. They're not going to get their equipment because it's all going into ICE. And considering that some of the guys that are in ICE look like me, they have to buy better equipment.
Yeah.
I said it in my video. I said, I know what I am. A man's got to know his limitations. I'm fucking not doing law enforcement. One, I'm Latino. Fuck, I ain't a traitor. And two, I know how it looks. They had a picture of a guy who was as big as me with a vest, and the vest ran up on him like a fucking bra. I mean, dude, he has no, because he's just sitting there. Look, dude, you don't look tough. And when you get into the real barrio or the real ghetto, they will fucking eat you alive. And that's the
No
thing.
shit.
They're taking everything and everyone because there's Stephen Miller is on a hate fest. They just want ethnic cleansing. They don't give a shit. They're picking up American citizens left and right. Mexican American citizens, Latino American citizens, because they're desperate. Fuck, they arrested 2 firefighters in Washington who were
I
fighting
heard
a
there's
fire.
and I heard they're still being detained. Now, the big thing is this is up in Washington, big fire. It's only 13% contained. They're working on this fire. ICE comes in. They shut down the operation. They stop the whole fucking thing from doing the fire, going after the fire. They end up taking 2 guys away for whatever reason. And those two today are still in detention.
And even worse, the people they pulled, the majority were Native fucking Americans.
Yeah.
But because they were brown skinned, they don't
Got
believe
to
them.
check them. Got to check
I
them.
mean, it's like this is where we're at, and the only way to stop it, well, obviously the DOJ is going to stop it because we know what it is. The only way to stop it is to kill the money, and we have an opportunity on September 30th to kill the money.
Now that you brought that up, I know what you're talking about is the budget and we can kill
Mm-hmm.
the money there. I want to ask you about another story I heard about. I heard about it a few places. I want to see if you heard about it. The report is that there are supposed to be 23 attorney generals from blue states that are talking on a regular basis and considering some opportunities to shut things down with Donald Trump and these fucking crazy things. And what they're talking about is something called a soft secession. Basically saying if you're not going to give us FEMA or give us any help, we're just going to stop sending you the federal funds and we'll just pay for our own shit, which is something we've talked about before. I didn't know that it could be a real thing. But if this report is correct, that would be an interesting thing and would have devastating effects on Washington, D.C., not to mention the red states.
Yeah, I have heard of the soft secession. They are thinking about it, and if you look at it, the first salvo of that was kicked off when Trump said, yeah, I'm not paying for Kamala Harris's Secret Service." And
Right,
the California Highway Patrol said, okay, we will do it from the
right,
state of California.
right.
So that's basically saying, fuck you, we're going to handle her. Yes, I have heard about it. And yes, they should do it because you're not getting your money is not coming back to you that you put in the system. If
Right.
there's a disaster in California, well, fuck the fire in Washington, federal government made it worse. So the federal government, if we're paying money into that as a blue state, as a giver state, I mean, they keep trying to sell this bullshit that the red states have great economies. The red states have no economies, except for Georgia, because Georgia and Atlanta have always been the center of the South,
Right.
going back to the Civil War even before. Sorry, that's the truth, guys. That's why why is Georgia purple? Because a lot of people come from other states that work here, not from
Right.
red states. All right, except for Georgia. What is the industries you see around the red states? They don't have a goddamn thing. Florida has tourism. They're fucked right now.
Right.
South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. They ruined those states economically so a few people can benefit.
Right.
It's no different than before Reconstruction or during Reconstruction. It's just they have been living off the federal teat for decades. It's time to dry the teat off and
Well,
see what happens.
the weirdest thing is Texas. Texas is a very wealthy state, presumably. They have oil, they have tourism, they have all kinds of stuff down there, but they're also a taker state.
Yes, because they
Got to
don't
be the way
have
they handle the money.
yeah, they don't handle the money right. They give it to the very rich. They don't have an infrastructure. They have nothing. I mean, they vaulted law enforcement agencies a bunch of pussies. Yes, I'm talking about Uvalde, you pussies. What in your neck of the woods? What happened in Minneapolis? I heard the
Right.
Minneapolis police were there fast.
They
They
were.
couldn't get to that person, but they're probably ready to go in there to support everyone. Not Uvalde. I will never forget that. 73 minutes standing around with an active shooter committing murder. Fuck you, Texas. You're a bunch of cowards. And I'll say that to a Texan to their face. Fuck you. You're cowards. You keep doing
I,
this. You're nothing. You're nothing.
I think there's a
And,
lot of Texans who would agree with you, probably. Not Republican, but Democrat.
a side note on that, as a product of Catholic school, where
Yeah.
you do go to a mass at least once a week, that was horrific. And the person who did it, I'm not even going to talk about their sexuality because that was bullshit. They were a sick person. Their writings show it. And I know that the far right have jumped on that. Like I said, it's a double tragedy. But for fuck's sake, guys, enough is a fucking enough. And the mayor of Minneapolis saying what he said was correct. There ain't enough prayers. I don't like saying, well, thoughts and prayers. Why? As someone person, you pray for people not for something to happen, but to give them uplift and strength. This isn't going to change anything. I didn't even want to say thoughts and prayers because it's fucking useless.
Well, the thing
There's an
is, thoughts and
8-year-old and
prayers.
10-year-old dead in a Catholic church. And you
Th-
fuckers keep saying the same fucking thing. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Thoughts and prayers are fine. There's nothing wrong with saying that. But it also says in the Bible, if I believe I'm right here, I'm not a theologian by any stretch of the imagination, isn't the phrase, uh, God helps those who help themselves? Meaning,
Yes,
if you have the opportunity to take care of things, I mean, because the fact of the matter is we have free will if you're going by the Bible, and there are some crazy fucks that are taken care of mentally, and they will do this sort of thing. So, as a government, we have the opportunity to fix these things, like get help for mentally disabled people, to limit who can get guns and what kind of guns. It's fine to
yes.
say, well, God will just handle everything, but that's not how it works. We've got to
When
do
that
some work here too.
when that incident happened, and I was watching the video on YouTube of the Minneapolis chief of police talking about it,
Hmm.
and I just said it's another day in America, and some fucking asshole commented to my reply, "Well, it happens everywhere else." Really? Well, it hasn't happened in Canada,
No, it
Japan,
doesn't.
England. Um, I haven't heard of a mass shooting. Very rare. Why? Because you can't get a goddamn gun if you want one. And there's even if you do, there's regulations. Again, you dumb fucks. You can regulate weapons like you regulate your vehicles, and everyone can
Right.
still have one and be safer. But you're so stupid.
I mean, if I
And
have 5 DWIs and a couple fatal accidents, they ain't gonna give me a fucking license.
no,
And
and
if
you
you've
don't
got
get
a bad
insurance.
track record with guns, you should not be allowed to have them.
And the problem is the tragedy. You know, the someone did a video, but I saw the first thing I'm going to bring up. The woman who came to the church, who took her shoes off and ran barefoot to find her child.
Right.
Can you imagine that fear?
I
I've
can't.
never
I
seen it.
can't.
I can't. But someone did a video talking about that, but they said that firefighters at the Sandy Hook, remember Sandy Hook's what, 10, 15 years ago? Um,
Um, yeah, maybe more than that.
10 years ago? Columbine is close to a quarter century ago.
Yep.
Okay. Someone made it reminded people that because the same thing that everyone law enforcement has to get all the families together in one place while they sort out what happened. And it's kind of like when in World War II, when the Western Union guys showed up, you knew it was bad.
Right.
And the firefighters at Sandy Hook had them in one of their fire stations, and they were all waiting. And he said one firefighter remembered every time they had to tell a parent what happened because the wailing, the sound never left them.
Right.
The misery. And then you fucking want to talk about, you want to go after the mayor because he doesn't want to play your game anymore. And it sickens me because it's bad enough that Republicans are goddamn defending pedophilia and child marriage, but they sure as fuck will defend someone. They'll sure as fuck will defend when weapons of mass destruction are used against children, but they'll turn around and say, yeah, that's because that person was transsexual and they're all like that. They'll use it to their advantage without sympathy for what happened because of those toss out thoughts and prayers. Meanwhile, go fuck yourself.
I did
Sorry,
some
that just
investigation. I did some investigation into this, and in the last 20 years, there's been 1,437 mass shootings in schools, just in schools. And as far as I know, there may be two or three occasions where the people may or may not have been transgender. And I was talking to a Trump fuck, and they said, "Well, this was a transgender person. This was a transgender person. This was a transgender person, and you want to take away guns from rednecks?" And I'm going, "Motherfucker, let me give you some other facts. 99.999% of all pedophiles are white males, and they're play acting anyway that they're heterosexual. 99.999% of all school shooters are white males, heterosexual males. And so, and as far as uh, any crimes you go out there, the vast majority crimes against other people are going to be white males, presumably heterosexual. So if you're going to suggest that this person being transgender has some bearing on this crime that was committed, we have to look at the big picture. Apparently,
right.
white men, heterosexual men, are the fucking problem in this country.
And and the government helps the gun industry and the politics have supported this throughout the Las Vegas shooting, one of the
Right,
biggest shootings. The guy who did that from the hotel window during that country music festival, he
right,
had a bump stock.
right,
So I believe it was a Democratic. I'm trying to remember, was it Obama or was it Biden? They got rid of the bump stock. Okay, they got law passed because it was ridiculous. That's what he used to kill as many people as he did to take a single shot AR-15 and turn it into a machine gun.
right.
The Trump administration has returned that back.
I know. Yeah, they put it back. Give me one good reason why that justified. That there is
Second
no
Amendment.
sense. Well, own the libtards too. Make the libtards
Yeah,
get upset.
but here's the thing that's ironic right now. The Second Amendment was designed to fight against what the Trump regime is doing by putting troops illegally in your home and in your cities and towns. That's why you carried weapons. That's what the idea of a well-armed militia was about. So the first thing you're going to do if you're the regime is get rid of that right because they
Right.
know what's going to happen. See, the reluctance to go into hard targets because these people are armed, and if you push it, they're going to fight back. And I'm going to bring up one quick thing that just came back as we move on to that because it's a danger because we got a desperate man in the White House. Things are falling apart. He hears the hoot owl out his window right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you hear this, he's desperate to leave something behind. He's talking about, that's why he's talking about the Nobel Peace Prize. He's talking about, I want to get to heaven. Dude, who lives, who dies, who tells your story? Your story is going to be ugly and told by many people with hate. Right up
With
there.
one exception, with
Mhm.
one exception, on that day we find out he is no more. On that day, I am predicting the largest nationwide party in the history of the country. It's going to be
And
crazy, and all the Republicans are going, "That's terrible. You're
yeah,
you're
it is.
you're celebrating somebody who died." Yeah, I'm celebrating somebody who was trying to destroy us dying. That's a good thing.
No, I celebrated when Rush Limbaugh died. That guy,
Yeah,
that man did more to ruin this country than any person ever through his
prior to
media.
Donald Trump. Yeah,
Yeah, prior because he set all this up.
right.
But it's going to. I mean, but Johnny Bananas is a TikTok creator which I watch, and he's a mid one. He gets suppressed a lot because he does speak his mind. But he talked
Yeah,
about what happens because Trump can send National Guard, but he can send um, military, active military. Now he said that in his crazed fucking press conference or cabinet meeting where he said that the military was empty. I filled it up again. We have enough troops to do this. You do not,
no.
okay, dumbass. But point is, he can send literally the army into Chicago if he wanted to. Declare a national
Technically,
emergency,
he
do it.
well, if he declares a national emergency, but he doesn't have the option willy nilly. The fact is, the Constitution says he can't do that because of the posse
Congress says,
comitatus.
yeah,
Law says that. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump won't do it anyway, but it's not like he has the option. He has to play this fucking game. And the fact of the matter is he got his foot stepped on with the tariff thing because he made some shit up
right,
and then he had to do it. And same with the deportation thing. He said, we've got an emergency. Both courts said, fuck yourself. That's not happening. So he may very well try it, but he doesn't have really the option legally to do it.
right. So that's correct. Doesn't mean he won't do it. And there's
Right.
are apparently he's got generals who are on his side. But he made a thing about it. People were worried if the actual military show up with weapons, will they shoot at citizens? And he was saying that don't worry about it because he's gotten videos from active military members and others saying, and veterans, but I don't count vets. You're out. You're not part of this shit. But actual military members saying, no, we won't do it. We remember our oath. And to that, I say bullshit. And tell you why. The protests you see right now in Washington, D.C., and Stephen Miller said it pretty clearly, is majority white. Look
Yeah.
at it. It's majority white. He called them elderly white hippies.
Right.
They're white folk, okay? And one of the reasons that a lot of black creators and a lot of black people are sitting back is that they know if this becomes the George Floyd situation, you're going to end up with bodies on the ground. Because again, the military has been indoctrinated through Fox News that people of color are dangerous. That's why Kyle Rittenhouse got away with murder through the
Right.
George Floyd riots. And if you see what happened when the military was sent out against the protesters in D.C. during the George Floyd riots, they had no problem busting heads because the
No.
majority were black.
Right.
So from what he's saying, they won't. And I say, if it remains white protesters, more than likely, because they don't want to see that. Um, they don't want a Kent State, okay?
Right.
But if they go into black areas and areas like that and push on the community and they push back, then the bodies will hit the floor.
Well,
There will be
the interesting thing is these protests are white by design. I mean, I
mm-hmm.
think people of color are saying, you know, we're the ones that are going to give them excuses and cause problems, as crazy as that sounds. So they're kind of laying back. And the white people are saying, we get it, man. Just hang back. We'll do what we got to do. And that does put the Trump administration in a tough situation because being racist, and now if they have to shoot white people, I tell you what, if that pops off, I mean, we were pretty young when Kent State happened, but that created
a
fucking
shitstorm.
craziness. Yeah.
I mean, I to this day, I don't even know why they did it. They
I don't
still
either.
haven't gotten a straight answer. Because I remember when I did I do a paper on it or we studied it in school. There are pictures of the kids, you know, doing their hippie dance around them, and a girl putting flowers in the gun inside the
In the
gun
gun
barrel
barrels. Yeah.
five
Yep.
minutes before they opened fire.
Right.
And again, that was a shitstorm. Now, they did that all the time during the Watts riots, and people died and all that. But who gives a fuck, right? And again, everyone, calm down. This is history and truth. You can't get away history. You can't get away from it. I don't give a fuck what they're trying to do with the Smithsonian. But the point being is, what he said, what John Biden said, is wrong. Given the correct circumstances, the U.S. military on American soil will fire on American citizens. We have to think that way until they turn around and say no and point their weapons the other way and say, you must stop and step down.
Well,
That's the way
let me
you
let me
got to think.
let me just say when you say that they have an oath not to put guns against citizens. However, when we're talking about the National Guard or even the military in general, we have a lot of young men there. And
Yes.
here's the problem with young men. They have more testosterone than they have intellect. They have
Mm-hmm.
guns. And if they feel in danger or for whether they are or not, if they feel pressured, how these young men or women, really, probably men, will react, it's hard to tell. Young men make stupid fucking choices all the
Yes.
time. And one stupid choice like Kent State causes an incredible uproar. And I think it will be even bigger this time around because we have so much media covering it. It would be across the world in 4 minutes.
Yeah. And I don't want to go there, but
No,
they seemed determined, thinking that determined to try it.
right.
And again, this is the idea again. The people at the Heritage Foundation think this is 38, 39 Germany.
Yeah.
Okay. They really believe their press clippings that this was a landslide of this was an edict by the American people. It
I've had
is
Trump and
not.
fuck say that to my face, and I go, Jesus Christ, you are an idiot. And I show
I
them
mean,
the numbers, and they don't believe the numbers. So
yeah,
fuck them.
and they keep feeding that like the Carrot Levitt, who I call the Boba-headed bleach blonde that comes on at 5. Again, Don Henley. She literally, with Labor Day, said that there are more jobs for people because immigrants have been removed. That everyone has $500 more per paycheck,
Right.
and they
Donald
just
Trump said that
spew,
too.
yeah, they spew this bullshit at us. And I don't. I mean, no, I wasn't born yesterday. I'm not dumb, but I'm not in a cult either.
Right.
Which brings us, I guess, round trip as we started this discussion about the possible death of Donald Trump and the consequences.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's what I
there's,
was going to ask you. We've
yeah,
got this whole shit show
mhm,
and all this stuff going on at the behest of Donald Trump. If he keels over, chokes on a Big Mac, has a stroke, shits his pants to death, What happens at that very moment? JD Vance become president, I know that, but does everything kind of change in the country, or does it continue the way it's going? I find it
It,
hard to imagine that it could continue going the way it's going.
it's, I mean, you get the two camps. Okay.
Yeah.
The one camp is like when you say Trump, well, JD Vance is worse.
Yeah,
He,
I
he's a,
don't think so.
he's a sycophant. Okay. JD
Yeah.
Vance is basically, to use a, again, nerd, sorry guys, he's Clayface from the Batman videos, villains. He'll change himself to fit the situation. That's what he'll
He's, a
do.
t- he's basically a tool, and I mean that in the negative
Yeah,
sense that he's being used, and he doesn't command the same kind of power or attention. He isn't
yeah,
going to have as much sway with Congress. They're going to say, "Fuck
exactly.
yourself, couch boy."
And that's the thing. You all have to remember is that Donald Trump and Trump against are fucking cult. And when the cult leader dies, they're still dedicated to the dead body,
Right.
to who he is, to who he was. And no one can replace him. That's the one thing that people always said, like it going back to, I keep forgetting YouTube. If Hitler had passed away, it would have been a fucking feeding frenzy
Yeah.
because he held everything together. The generals didn't like him. The other people didn't were looking for his job anyway. It would have been a nightmare. The whole German government would have fucking fallen apart at that
Right.
point. It would have been a disaster. I mean, it didn't take long after he offed himself in the bunker for the Germans to surrender because they knew
Right.
it was over. They were only fighting
Right.
the war because he was still around. So we're kind of in the same boat to an extent. If he goes, all these things are the impotence of Trump and Project 2025. Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation think they're running the show, but they need their Godhead.
Right.
And without their Godhead, you're left with Vance, who does not have the decades, literally decades, of allies and sycophants that Trump has created.
Right.
Remember, you talked about how no one's really been pushing back to recently. Trump's been getting his way for fucking decades
Yep.
in New York for everything he did. He was a failed businessman. People said do not do business with him, but they still do it because they let him loose. They let him have his way always. And I don't know what it is, but his personality as a con man convinced him. And that's what he's still running the con now. He's making more money. He loves it. His family is out of it. Eric and Donnie Jr. cannot do anything. They're hated. His daughter is run for the hills. His brother, his son-in-law is in the Saudi pockets sucking on their money teat.
Yeah.
And his wife is about ready to file divorce because apparently Laura Loomer is back in town. Ladies and gentlemen, the point being is that's a whole bunch of chaotic shit being held together by one personality. And when he goes, it's going to fall apart. I cannot see how it holds together.
No, it can't
Impossible.
hold together. Donald Trump is broken emotionally, broken physically. He's very fragile at this moment. And whether he's deathly ill or not, I don't know. I know his time is short based on the way he looks, based on the way he talks. He is diminishing every day. No way he makes it to the end of the term. And I would be
No.
very surprised if he makes it to the midterms. And when that happens, there's going to be a dramatic shift in the Republican Party because when Donald Trump is done, there's going to be a lot of shit coming out. And there's going to be people trying to push themselves as far away from Donald Trump as they
Yes.
can, even though they were so tight with him. Now, they're going to have a problem because people won't forget about Marco Rubio or Lutnick or Basent
Now,
or Hegseth. They are
if
going to be stuck with the smell of Donald Trump for the
if
rest of their life, figuratively and literally.
if I were JD Vance, now I'm going to say in the sense that I'm playing a game, long game. Okay. I Well, I mean, I've changed my stripes already. If I was going to settle into that position, the first thing I do was flush everyone out of there. That was Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Hesget, all of them. I would reset it to my people. And then the next thing I would do is start giving people some crumbs. Maybe reset the big, beautiful bill. Maybe back away from the mass deportations and go back to that. Back away for a while. Because that's the easy, because if he did that, everyone would go, oh, he's not like Trump. And he might bring the Republicans back into the fold for him. But, go ahead.
Let me give you a theory. You brought
Hmm.
up Brian Kemp, governor of
Yes.
Georgia. He
Oh, God,
sided
yes.
with Donald. He sided with Donald Trump because he had to, but he also pushed back against Donald Trump. Donald Trump dies. Just think of this scenario. It just
Mhm.
came to me. Donald Trump dies. JD Vance becomes president. Now, JD Vance has to name a vice president. What if they forced him to take Brian Kemp? And then when JD Vance fucks up in about an hour afterwards, they they impeach
25 of them?
him, they impeach him or 25 him, and now Brian Kemp is there to reset the Republican Party going into 2028.
I
That would
mean,
honestly, if I was a Republican, I'd fucking do that.
because I don't think JD Vance, if you're smart, you do that. That's the smart thing to do. Because if you
Well, no,
continue with
no,
Trump's
no, no.
policy,
JD Vance, JD, it wouldn't be smart for JD Vance to bring Kemp in because his time
no,
is
no,
short
no.
at that point.
No. If he's forcing the issue, if the push is this or else, he'll take it because that's what Vance is.
Yeah,
But Vance, again, people keep thinking that he's got JD Vance has the personality of a wet noodle.
he does.
He does. He can't speak tough. It'll. I mean, all you got to see is that when you try to order donuts here in Atlanta, you don't know what a fucking donut was.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, and you hear him talk now. He doesn't project anything other than what everyone tells him to say.
right.
People can people can sense that. Let's be honest. Trump is the upper. He's the bottom, big time. Okay. Mike Pence at least had some
Donald,
conads occasionally once.
let's put it this way, where people can understand it. Donald Trump is the top dog. JD Vance is the couch.
It's a couch, literally, and he gets sit on every time. Because that's the thing. I don't know. I don't see him being that smart. And the only other thing that I would fear in that situation is that they declare a national emergency because people are not respectful enough of the Trump death, and they see it as a threat to America, and go total national emergency. That would be bad. That would not work well. That's not going to
No,
go over really well.
but any power they have is gone once he's gone. I mean, they can
That's the
bitch and
thing.
complain, but the idea of creating a national emergency or that sort of thing, you really need Donald Trump to be the one to even spew it out there. The trouble with JD Vance, he has no personality, he has no charisma, nobody trusts him, nobody likes him, and this is including the Republicans. He
He
would
was
be
hated in the
basically
Senate.
impotent. He'd be impotent in that job.
He was hated in the Senate.
Yeah,
No one liked him
and
when
he
he
was
was a
only
senator.
there 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. That's the thing. That's what I want everyone to kind of, because again, doom scrolling is a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. You get enough of Aaron Parnas or you get enough of stuff that they do, you go, what the fuck? Right? I
Yeah.
mean, aircraft carriers off Venezuela, possible invasion, whatever. Okay. If Trump dies, because it's not, unless he comes out on Sunday or Monday and he's walking and talking and looking like at least a semblance of himself, this is going to continue. Okay. And and I think part of it, why we're hearing of quiet Republicans, there's two things going on. One, fear. on the MAGA
Yeah.
side, because what they're going to do if their God dies.
Yeah.
And two, there are machinations behind the scenes where people have been talking shit about Trump for a decade and more, thinking, okay, if he dies, what's our best scenario to save this shit that he
Yeah.
created? Because honestly, we make fun of it, we talk it in the open, and the Republicans aren't flipping out about it. They're flipping out about Gavin Newsom. And I mean, because the day that happens, the initial shock is going to be amazing because it's going to be a snap. And all those people who are incompetent to begin with ain't going to know what to do.
Yeah.
Honestly, look at it. Look at that cabinet. Vance, Hesget, Lutnick, Nome. Do you remember when Reagan got shot?
Yeah.
Do you remember what the chaos was?
Yep.
Where Al Haig said, "I'm in charge." No,
Right.
dude, you're not in
Yeah, I
charge.
remember. I
I
remember.
mean, and
He
that
got
was,
some
I
shit
mean,
about that too.
yeah, and but see, that was a sane and somewhat competent cabinet.
Right.
These people are losers. Oh, by the way, Janine Pinero, how the sandwich taste?
Yeah.
How that taste? I
Yeah.
mean, how that? Yeah, felony for throwing a sandwich, dude. He's getting charged with a misdemeanor, which he should have.
Well,
Misdemeanor assault.
the
Go ahead.
ironic thing is the saying is with a grand jury, because only the prosecutor makes a presentation, you could
Right.
get an indictment against a ham sandwich, and this guy hits an officer with a sandwich, and they can't get a fucking indictment.
And yeah, I mean, I just wouldn't want to be the lawyer walking into that grand jury. And I believe grand jury can ask questions, right? I'm trying
I
to
believe
remember
so.
how
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah.
And just the idea, and then the videos played, and everyone goes, it was a wrapped sandwich too.
Yeah.
It wasn't like throwing an open face sandwich. It didn't get stained on it. It was a wrapped fucking sandwich.
Yeah.
And so, and I loved her video before talking about how we're going to block. Lady, stop with it. That's the thing. If Trump dies, and let's be face it, that's a crisis for the United States. When a
Right.
president passes away or becomes in uh, not incompetent or what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, it just
Not
creates the chaos and
it's
uncertainty in the
it's a
country when that
crisis.
happens.
It's a
Yeah.
crisis in America, and you have these people in charge who can't handle crisis. They can't handle crisis. And
You know.
I
You
and
know.
I'll give, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? You know what the problem that they don't even realize is there's going to be a lot of bad shit happening in this country, in the economy and all this shit.
Yes,
When Donald Trump dies, they can't blame Donald Trump because he's dead. They're going
yes.
to blame all those motherfuckers, and they're going to have to live with that.
Oh, and it's just, and that's the thing. We're run by a reality show. They're all
Yeah.
reality show. They're all performances. You know, I mean, if Trump passes away, I'll guarantee you the first person that's going to be in the White House trying to take control is Kristi Noem. I'll lay
Yeah.
my money on that one.
Yeah. I
Followed
agree.
by Tom Holm, and then followed by Nesferatu himself, Stephen Miller, who has
Yeah.
no political, who has no elected or political power, but that's what's going to happen, and it will be a fight. It will be ugly, and that's the thing. There's that term in Game of Thrones, chaos is a ladder.
Right.
That's where Democrats step in, and I do not want to hear from Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries or Nancy Pelosi. We must be respectful because the president died. Fuck you. I can hear that already. We should be good and honor what the Republicans need. Fuck you. Because that brings us to the last thing as we close. We're talking about what Newsom's doing. We're talking about what Wes Moore's doing, what Pritzker doing, what a lot of Democrats are doing, what Bernie Sanders has been doing, AOC, Jasmine Crockett. There was that one congresswoman from Texas who's bald, who so upset James Comer he actually whined like a little bitch because she kept trying to read something that's her right, little
Right.
bitch. And so they're fighting back. But the problem we have fighting back is that you have these other people who still live in a different fucking world. And
Yeah.
again, I don't hear anything from Chuck Schumer or Jeffries. Well, a little bit of Jeffries, but that's after something happens. They don't, and the leadership fears Newsom. They fear Pritzker. They fear what Moore's doing. What's going on in California, there's already rumblings is that the big donors don't want to get involved in it because they're fear of upsetting Trump. They don't want to get involved. I don't hear any fucking Hollywood celebrities stepping up, especially with ICE. Where are you, George Clooney, Rob
Yeah.
Reiner?
Where the fuck are you?
You're gone. It's all gone. Why? Because it got hot. It got hot, and you didn't want to deal with it. And that's the thing. The governor of California, I don't give a fuck about his policies right now. That's the
I don't
thing.
either.
Yeah, those people are going, well, he used to think, I don't care. I don't care
We're in a fight
because,
now. We need fighters.
yeah, we need a personality to win, to push forward.
Right.
And then when them people go, well, what about policies and people? You know what? You want your policies? You win the fucking war, you
Yeah.
dumbasses.
Well, we got policies now, and apparently you voted for those policies. Now you don't like the policies. We can only try to fight and win the war at this point.
Yeah.
And then once the war is won and we've got some reasonable, sane shit
And,
going on, then we can worry about policies.
and,
It's
and
unfortunate that that's the case, but that's the fucking case.
these forces from the far left who they don't like Newsom because they feel left out because he's ignoring their shit.
Right.
And I've been hearing rumors in Michigan where there's another Senate seat coming up that all those Palestinian voters
Yeah.
are popping up again and trying to blame Democrats for what's going on in Israel. Here we go
Yeah.
again. Okay.
Yeah.
And the point is, the problem we have is that for so long we have fought, literally fought with the rules. We fought with the rules. We've been taught to fight fair. We've taught where what we do, if we do it well, will be rewarded. What we've seen in the last 10 years is incompetency and mediocrity, and who screams the loudest being rewarded.
Right.
Okay, bitches, this is how we're going to do it. We're more competent than you are. We're smarter than you are. So it's time to get louder than you are because we're finding out you don't like the sound.
Yeah.
Really, we've been dealing with it for 10 years. We don't like your sound. And you don't like it when we say it. And someone did a thing, one of those roundtables with former Trump voters asking for forgiveness.
Nope.
Yep, fuck you. You're not getting my forgiveness because I will never forgive you or forget. Why? Because I'm watching people who look like me, being abused and not having any rights. I'm watching these people being dragged out of cars, taken away from their homes, their schools, because of you and what you did. Every time I see these older white folk at these town halls screaming at their senators or their congressmen, I say, fuck you, because this is not, you're only worried about because it's affecting you now. Brown folk getting arrested and dragged away to so called concentration camps, fuck you.
You were
So
cool
if
with
when
that.
this is done and over, yes, the reckoning not only will be those who participated, but those who brought it in, and you will become pariahs of this society,
But
like
here's
it
the
was
thing
after World War II.
with these people say, how can you not be compassionate? How can you not forgive them and bring them in? I'll tell you why. I can't trust them Because
Nope.
when the next fucking bandwagon takes off, that's a crazy train, they're going to jump on that too. I'll give you a perfect example. Say you own a store, and say somebody works for you at that store, and they steal a bunch of money or embezzle a bunch of money. They get caught and they go off. And then a year later, they come back and go, I'm really sorry. I fucked up. I hope you forgive me and all that. Are you hiring that person back,
I
regardless?
want my money first, and then tell you to get the
Well,
fuck out.
I wouldn't hire them back because I can't
No.
trust them. We
No.
can't trust people who voted for Donald Trump. They made stupid choices or evil choices, and we can't trust that they won't do it again. I'm sorry. It's maybe not Christian to not
No.
forgive, but our lives, our very lives, and my kids and my grandkids' lives are at stake. So I'm sorry, I'm not taking that risk.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's going to affect us probably for a while. You guys
Yeah,
bought into this con, and you basically ruined this country at the 250th anniversary of this democracy, which is
right.
going to be interesting coming up because fuck, what's going to be to celebrate? Will it be celebration? I don't know.
What's the
I
point?
mean, and the point is, right now, I will say this because those, I mean, doom scrolling and seeing the worst. Yeah, it's easy. It's not easy to get depressed or get pissed. I know, been there, done that.
Yeah,
But I think again, instead of giving up, you get mad. Like I did on Friday, I got mad. I chose violence. Fuck you. This is what's going on. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. It doesn't hurt to do that because it also gives you a chance to let it go and then look at the big picture. And the big picture right now, in these 8 months, things have gone so chaotic that they're starting to realize they can't control the chaos.
yeah,
And that's why they're throwing more stuff out, more military, more of this. Why? Because they can see the chaos coming. They know that it's not working. And in the end, they're going to lose it all, like every type of regime has done, and they'll have to pay the price. Will it get ugly? Yes. And also, too, if you are in the middle and you're telling me both sides do it, or we need to just be bipartisan, or we need to reach across the aisle, I'm going to crack your fingers if you try to reach out
yeah,
because that's not going to work. Because what
yeah.
you are to the rest of us is a hindrance to getting things done. You are a fucking weight on us because you don't see the big picture because your situation is safe.
Yeah.
Ours is
Well,
not.
it's in situations there is a time to fight, and you got to be willing to fight. If not, go stand in the corner and wait till it's over. But there is a time to fight, and unfortunately, we've been pushed to the position where we must fight.
And
So
we're,
we either
we're not
do it or
even,
we don't.
and you think about it, we're not really fighting like fighting. We're
Not
just
fighting
actually
that
giving
way.
it back to them, and they're
Right.
beginning to see. I thought you guys were afraid, and you were going to. No, no. We gave you a chance to govern. You proved to us you will not govern. That the only thing that you have is hate and fear and lining your own pockets. So now we're going to remind you in the ridiculous ways that you've done it and keep putting the pressure on you because it's affecting you. We could see it. Don't play
Absolutely.
tough with us. We know you're fake.
Absolutely.
We know it and we can smell it. And you're going to fall apart on your own because we're telling you the same thing. Good luck with that. So
Absolutely.
that's hope for what it is.
Well, I'm
So
going to wrap things up for the Rational Boomer podcast. Will, thanks for joining me. It's always a great conversation. I know people look forward to it. So we got through another one. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it, Mike. Happy Labor Day to all you. Remember, you can find me on TikTok at Kumquat6 at TikTok, Binder38 US at YouTube. I'm still doing the thing, even though I'm so suppressed. It's like funny. It's ridiculous.
It
Fuck
is.
it. That's and the thing about it is like I'll say something and try to be nice, and I finally say fuck it. No one's going to see it anyway. I'm going to
Right.
say it because, like it's like I was talking about Jody Ernst. I said that woman. I said, "Fuck it, that bitch is not going to
Yeah.
run because she is what she is," and I'm very
She
proud of
is.
myself. I didn't say the c word. So, but the point is, you can find me there, follow, spread the word. But again, if you are a small creator, if you watch this and don't think that your words matter, they do because
It
it's
does.
just one more. It's like that old fable with the raven trying to get water and putting pebbles in the jar until the water rose up so he could drink. Each one's a pebble, and we
Right.
can keep rising it up. So don't be afraid. Fuck it at this point, because honestly, what do we have to lose? Because we know what we'll lose if we don't. There you
I
go,
I
man.
I, I know when the rules change at TikTok on September 13th, there's a good chance that I could get banned because I'm not changing anything I do. They may bend to Donald Trump. I ain't going to do it. And if I get canceled off this thing, okay, well, there's YouTube, there's Spotify,
Hmm.
there's Substack, there's everything else. So that's, I'll just worry about that then. Thanks again, Will. For those listening, I want to thank you for taking the time to do that. I hope you have a great day. We will talk to you again tomorrow.